Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my bloody 21, 22 Premier League predictions. Buddy I decided to do because I watched a YouTube video of someone doing a Premier League predictions. I was like, I wanted to do one of those, just more so for the sake that at the end of the season I can look back and see how well I did in my Premier League predictions. So the Premier League has kicked off. The transfer window has closed. Ronaldo's at Man United. Lukaku's at Chelsea. Liverpool got Konate at the side of the window and then did nothing. So I'm kind of gonna bloody try and, predict things. We'll start from 20, working our way up. And I have a little graphic. The first team shall be Norwich. I think Norwich are garbage. I think they're absolute dog shit. The reason I say that is whenever I watch them, they lose, and whenever I don't watch them, they seem to lose. I believe that in order to be competent in the Premier League, you need two things. You need a really solid backline, and you need a goal scorer at the base of it. For example, you look at these teams that have sustained their length. You look at Newcastle and Burnley. They've always had elite defences. And then they have, your, what's his name? Barnes, who scores goals sometimes. Yeah, went on a streak last season, I remember. I don't think that Norwich have that. I think Teemu Pukki is championship level. I will be surprised if he gets more than, I'm going to put the number of 12 goals. I think he will get 12 goals this season. And I think maybe 3 will be penalties. And is that good enough? Probably not. I do like the addition of Rashika, but I believe that there are 19 teams in the league better than them. And if I were a betting man, and on any given week I had to pick a team that was going to lose, 19 times out of 20 it's going to be bloody Norwich, because unless they're playing like one of these other bottom two teams, I just think they're going to lose every single game. Simply because it's just not so good in Norwich. I'm sorry. Back down for you. Next up, we got number 19, Watford. I like Watford. I don't dislike Watford. And the reason for that, they keep signing these French centre-mids that used to play for Spurs. You look at, obviously, Capuy comes to mind. They also once had the French centre-mid, didn't play for Spurs, but Doucouré. Was that them? That was Watford, right? Yeah. I do like Watford. They got his Malissa. Do they have much else? Is Sissoko going to keep you up? I do think he's good. A good addition. I do think they're better than Norwich. But I think that their defence might be a bit sus this season. But maybe if they come up again, I think they'll have a bit more longevity. 18, we have Burnley. And I'll be completely honest with you, this is more so hopeful rather than, anything factually to back it up. Just because I'm fucking sick of Burnley. I think they're boring as batshit. And I think that if they got relegated, I would be relatively happy. Am I still salty because they beat us at Anfield last season? Yes. Do I think they're a bunch of twats? Yes. Moving on. Newcastle. I love Newcastle. Full disclosure. Alain Saint-Maximin is... Part of me wants Newcastle to get relegated so that Alain Saint-Maximin can come to a bigger team and we can see what he's really made of. Because right now he's in a position where he is the only person in the... If you picture pitching quarters, Newcastle's whole team is in their back quarter. And then Saint-Maximin is sometimes in the next quarter. When I watched him against the Man United game, so fun to watch. Gets the ball, just carries it forward. He's a little bit erratic when he dribbles. And sometimes you're like, oh, he looks like he doesn't really control his feet very well, but he's so like tricky and elegant at the same time. But it does result in him often giving the ball away. But I think that is also due to the quality around him just isn't there. Love that guy. I think he's enough to keep them up. Joelinton, I said this in a tweet, technically probably the worst Brazilian of all time. I've never seen a Brazilian that can't pass, just can't kick a ball or run very well. I would trust Alisson to score more goals for Newcastle in that position, and also Edison, than Joelinton. I think he's garbage. Other things about Newcastle that are likely to keep them up. I don't want to linger too long on Newcastle, but I just want to shout out like Lascelles, Manquillo, ex-Liverpool boy. You got Buddy, the centre mid is pretty alright. Longstaff or whatever. Maybe the other Longstaff. Who's to say? Anyway, that's enough on Newcastle. I like them. Go Newcastle. Next up we got Brent Ford. I don't know that much about Brent Ford, but I think that from what they've done thus far in the season, and I'll be honest with you, based on what other people are telling me, I think that they'll probably be alright. So I have not seen very much of them. But they got obviously Tony going to score goals. This is the generic. You don't know shit about a team, so you're just saying what you've heard. You know, Tony, quality goal scorer. He's done it in the Championship. Will he do it in the Prem? I think he will. Go Brentford. Southampton. Fucking Southampton. Southampton. They just linger, don't they? In the transfer market, they didn't really inspire me. I mean, they lost Danny Ings last season, didn't they? They lost Danny Ings. I don't know if they've replaced those goals per se, but they're just one of those organised, well-run clubs that will do enough to stay up and not achieve very much at all. Crystal Palace. Watched them last night, or 2 nights ago. Played against Spurs. And they still have quality going forward. Ayew, Zaha, Benteke still there. Not very quality. I don't know why I mentioned him. Edouard from Celtic, the French boy. Quite good. And then defensively, didn't really lose too much ground. I think they'll be absolutely fine. Good on them. 13th, we've got Wolves. Wolves are a weird one. You don't know if they're going to be, and this is kind of thing, from 14 down, I think it could be quite tight, except for Norwich. I think they'll be relegated by Christmas. And then from 13 to like 11, very interchangeable, because Wolves, they have quality. And they'll be fine. But if this quality were to develop a bit more, the likes of Traore, Jimenez, etc., if they were to kick it up to that gear or even the level they had a couple seasons ago, they could push up quite high on the table. But at the moment, just don't think they're really there. Still adjusting under their new manager, obviously. I do like Wolves. I nearly put them 12th, but I think 13th is a more appropriate position, and that does take us to 12th. Leeds United. Watched them last night against Liverpool as well. Also watched them earlier in the season against someone. Can't remember who else they played. Man United is the one I was watching. Obviously quality manager. Quality spine. I like the goalkeeper, Melier. At centre back, a little bit sus, although that Struck guy, quite attractive. Calvin Phillips as an anchor, very, very solid option. Rafinha on the wing as your creative spark. Patrick Bamford will score, more than 12 goals, better than Pookie. I liked Firpo last night. I thought he got a bit caught out at times, and he was very aggressive. He was very wrestly with Salah, but I think Salah just gets under people's skins a bit because he's so good and so quick that it was just a bit frustrating just rugby tackling him in a few times. But I thought his deliveries into the ball were really good. I thought his forwards running and desire to get forward was really good. Where I think Leeds fall short is the likes of Cooper. James, was that really the signing that's going to take you into the top half of the table? For me, no. But I think they'll stay around. I think in the next couple of seasons, they'll definitely be a team that pushes on up there. I could see them in the next couple of seasons finishing like 8th or 7th. Brighton. Same as Southampton, really. Just a really well-run club. They still have all their goals in the forward line. They've still got the Trossards of the world, that little French guy, Malpai. They've still got Bissouma, holding on to Bissouma, a quality midfielder. I think in the next season he could be a red or a blue. And defensively, once again, just an organised team that's going to be absolutely fine in this Premier League. I think that they're the kind of team that will probably beat 90% of the teams below them, and then probably give away points to 90% of the teams above them, except for the next one. Because next, of course, we have... Oh, no, it's not what I thought it was. Aston Villa. I love Aston Villa. No, I don't. I hate Aston Villa. They've been a 7-2. But I love what they've done in the transfer market. They signed Danny Ings. And I think Danny Ings could have gone to a Man City, a Spurs, an Arsenal, and done really, really well. He is so underrated. Well, I think he's probably rated now, but he used to be so underrated. And when he was on the bench for Liverpool, I was like, any Premier League team would do so well with having someone like him in the squad. I also think Aston Villa just have the pieces around him now, and the sort of quality defence still with Mings, despite him messing up quite badly a couple of nights ago, to really push on and do something special this season, as in 10th. Next up, Arsenal. I nearly put Arsenal 10th. So once again, I would say 14th down could be pretty tight. 13 to 11, can interchange all those however you like, I think. Maybe even 10. No, I don't think Aston Villa could drop to 13. But I do think Wolves could climb a bit. And then Arsenal are such a difficult one to pick because I think their squad is just not really good enough, obviously. I think their manager is obviously not very good enough. They still have quality in there somewhere. Aubameyang scored the other night. I completely forgot he existed. Where was he? Where's he been? I still like some of their players, but other ones, their backline, just god awful. If I were to quote the joys of Roy Keane. Next up, we have Everton. Obviously, new manager, world-class quality, the kind of quality that defensively I think will be very solid. And Rafa Benitez obviously took over a Newcastle team and kept them around the 15th mark for 3-4 seasons or whatever. Now he has a team at Everton where he can do the exact same thing defensively, but he has the quality of Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison. They also signed Townsend and Gray, Demarai Gray, I quite like Demarai Gray. These kind of players that are going to do things on the offensive side of the ball that will get them lots of points and be quite competitive. But I think that a team where they probably lose to every team above them, and that's why they're 8th. And next up, we have West Ham. Tough one to pick because they have European football now. So I've seen a lot of West Ham fans especially believe that due to the European football, they may be dropping down quite a bit this season. However, I believe that West Ham have something special in Mikel Antonio, one of my favourite players to watch. Although I captained him on fantasy this weekend and he got a red card. So instead of -1 points, I got -2. Otherwise, West Ham just have such a nice squad. I think that bloody Algerian fella on the wing starts with a B. No. Oh boy. Yeah, well, you know what I'm talking about. They signed him from Brent Ford last season. He's going to be bloody good this season. How come he's going to be really good? Watch out for him. You know what I'm talking about. And then you got bloody... all your other good wingers, Bowen, and your midfield, Souček, and bloody Rice is still there. Like, quality midfield, quality attack, and a very solid defense. So that's the kind of team that finishes 7th in my book. Although, whatever. Spurs in 6th. I don't think this is going to be too surprising for Spurs fans. I think that Spurs are just at a point in their cycle where they're in the fringes. Although, has there ever been a point where they haven't just been in the fringes of the top 4? I think that's kind of where they've been for the last 20 years, if I had to guess. Interesting window. Hold on to Kane. And that's the kind of move that will get you to stay where you were, because you had Kane last season. Is Nuno going to take you to the top 4? No. Will you finish much lower than 6th? Probably not. Could you finish 5th? Yeah. Go on, you Spurs. Next up, we got 5th, Leicester. I love Leicester. I love Brendan Rodgers. Jamie Vardy's getting a bit old, isn't he? 36? 35? Should have looked this up before I did this video. As you can see, it was pretty spare at the moment. Leicester, Tielemans. Love Tielemans. Schmeichel, biggest club legend in Leicester City football, possibly. Maybe Jamie Vardy is, who's to say. And then still all the pieces. Maddison, was he good? Who's to say? Leicester are a good team. Good attacking team. Good fun to watch. Indeed. Ricardo Pereira back this season. I like that guy. Going to be absolutely fine. Going to be 5th. The reason they're not top 4, because the top 4 are stacked this season. And that does take us into number 4. You're going to like this. In 4th, we have Manchester City. Is it a surprise though? Let's go through it. What do Chelsea, United, and Liverpool have that Man City don't? Let's start. Left back. Mendy's a rapist, I think. God, shit, I can't say that. Mendy might be allegedly. Then they got Zinchenko, who you're just a shit Kevin De Bruyne lookalike that doesn't play like Kevin De Bruyne and is a left back. Whereas Man United, you have Luke Shaw, who's maybe the fourth best left back in the league. Chelsea, you have Chilwell and Marcos Alonso. And then you have the best left back in the league in Andy Robertson at Liverpool. And then what else does Man City not have? A striker. So you compare that not having a striker. Going to be playing that kid that played last season who was god-awful. Gabriel Jesus at times, who's so hit and miss. And then you're going to be playing false nines like you did last season with Gundogan and fucking Kevin De Bruyne at the striker. Is that how you win the league? Or is that how you finish fourth? You know my answer. Chelsea now have a striker in Lukaku, and United have a striker in Cristiano Ronaldo. And Liverpool obviously have Roberto Firmino, which is as good as those guys you could say. And also Jota playing striker. Sometimes if you squint hard enough, the Portuguese striker for Liverpool is as good as the Portuguese striker for Man United. But I digress. This is Man City. Man City, you finish in fourth. Pep Guardiola is a fraud. Don't know what to tell you. You spent $1 billion on bloody Jack Grealish, and you should have got one. You should have spent it on Danny Ings and fucking Taggart, whatever that left back's name is, from Aston Villa. Which takes us into third, Manchester United. Gotta tell you guys, this is the most Manchester United I've watched this season, maybe of all time. That's probably due to they had the early game against Leeds on the first day of the season, I believe it was, and they had the Cristiano Ronaldo game, first game of the weekend, this weekend, and they're really good at football. Really, really good at football. But it does beg the question once again, what does Chelsea and Liverpool have that Manchester United does not have? We can all say it together. 3, 2, 1, a good manager. And also an elite defensive midfielder. The two best defensive midfielders play for Chelsea and Liverpool. Manchester United does not have the best defensive midfielder. They played Nemanja Matic on the weekend against... who did they play? They smashed them. 4-5 Newcastle. Against Newcastle, they played Nemanja Matic as centre defensive mid with Pogba and Bruno Fernandes and their incredible front five. Excellent. But Nemanja Matic is so old. I don't think he played very much football last season. When McTominay comes back, is he going to raise the level? Fred, is he the DM that they need? Probably not. He seems like a bit more of a box-to-box to me. So I think that's definitely an area that top teams would be able to exploit, especially when you have Romelu Lukaku bullying them, dropping him, winning headers, flicking him over to Kai Havertz. I think that Chelsea and Liverpool, all around, with their managers, just a little bit better off right now. Not to say that Manchester United won't be competing, especially if they do something in January. I think it'll be very tight, the top four, obviously. But for this season, I just think that they're a little bit off. However, Cristiano Ronaldo will definitely elevate them above Man City. Good for them. In second place, we have Chelsea. Chelsea in second place? Who's missing? Let's have a little look. Oh! Wow. That is interesting. Didn't see that coming. I did. I don't know what you're saying. Fuck your bias. You're absolutely right, I'm biased. I don't give a fuck. This is my channel. I'm wearing a Liverpool top. I've got a Liverpool poster. You see this? On this poster, we got Steven Gerrard, we got Fernando Torres, Jamie Carragher, Ryan Babel for some reason. Martin Skirtle, I think, is on there. Sick. So why are Liverpool better than Chelsea? Let's play this game one last time. What does Liverpool have that Chelsea don't have? Striker position. They've got Lukaku, we've got Firmino and Jota. Interesting. Left wing. They've got fucking Pulisic and fucking... Oh God, they have so many players. They've got Timo Werner on the bench. They've got Pulisic and Kai Havertz. They've got Mason Mount. I feel like I'm missing like 3,000 players. Defensively... Oh, that's okay. Sure. Yeah. I've thought this out. Virgil van Dijk back in the Premier League at an elite level with Joel Matip. You want to hear a stat? every time Joel Matip and Virgil van Dijk play together, they concede an average chance per game. Goals allowed expected per game, 0.83. Goals conceded per game, 0.63. Points, 2.65 per game. That was another bad stat. Anyway, point is, Joel Matip and Virgil van Dijk are the best centre-back partnership in the world. Just thinking about other centre-back partnerships real quick. No, I'm gonna stick with it. Joel Matip is the most underrated player in the Premier League by about a mile, and I think the reason is when you're next to Van Dijk, they always have the cop-out argument of, well, he's playing next to Van Dijk. He's leaps and bounds ahead of Joe Gomez at this point in his career. He's leaps and bounds ahead of any of the Chelsea centre-backs, although, you have an aging Thiago Silva who's able to, coach these Rudigers and Christensens of the world who are very quality centre-backs. And under an incredible defensive scheme with Tuchel, you saw that in the Chelsea-Liverpool game whereby, they went a man down and Tuchel just said, elite defense, solution time. And he's such an incredible manager. I really highly rate Thomas Tuchel. But I think when it comes to grinding down these low block teams, I think Liverpool have just done it longer. We have a bit more chemistry, been gelling a bit longer. I'm biased and I'm running out of reasons. Also, we have the best left back and right back in the world. Reece James is good. Azpilicueta is not very good. Reece James one hell of a keeper. But when it comes to those deliveries from the wings, Liverpool just do it better. Fabinho and Kante are interchangeable top two CDMs in the world, I think. Then the rest of your midfield options, comparing Kai Havertz to a Thiago is just too different. Henderson and Keita in the midfield. Unfortunately, we just lost Harvey Elliott, who has been having one hell of a season, one of my favourite players to watch. I think Alisson's better than Mendy. I think there's just a little bit there enough in these quality positions. There's a bit more quality. I think Chelsea have a lot more going forward, a little bit lacking at the back. But I don't know who's stopping Chelsea. I'm hoping it's Liverpool. I feel like I have just convinced myself that Chelsea might be finishing top, but it doesn't matter. But what I will say, Champions League, I think Chelsea have the depth to compete in that longer. I think Liverpool won't win the Champions League this season. And as a result, I think that the overload weighs down on Chelsea. Liverpool maybe just grab it for having the Premier League as the only thing to focus on. And this is barring any injuries to our major players. Get well soon, Harvey Elliott, though. So anyway, that was a bit of a mess. Didn't really plan that very well, eh? But here we are. I had fun. I hope you had fun too. How long was this shit? It was 23 minutes. Cool. So thanks for watching. Bye.